so I'm a little bit late to this, but I feel like I should make a video because my speculation video about the Glock V models turned out to be wrong in the most underwhelming way. And I had speculated they'd put some sort of Glock performance-based trigger in there, not like the current SKUs of Glock performance triggers, but something based on it or derivative from it. Well, Glock did something actually less revolutionary than that, and they've actually just re-released the same gun, but they've slightly changed some parts of the slide to make them not compatible with current parts. If you're someone that just buys a Glock and you keep it stock and you shoot it and you're fine with that, like, the experience has not changed for you at all, right? It's the exact same trigger. It's the exact same user experience. If you're someone like me and you were born on this side of the 19th century and you're a big fan of interchangeable parts, well, this is kind of an annoying change because, again, they haven't fundamentally changed the gun, but they're no longer parts interchangeable with the current existing Gen 5 Glocks. And that's all these guns are, just Gen 5 Glocks with some silly shapes they put onto the bottom of the slide. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual internal changes. These pictures are not mine. These pictures were released a few days ago by someone that worked at one of the distributors. And then I've also took some pictures of the Glock 34 that I'm holding right here. So the most interesting place to look here is going to be on the bottom of the slide. Here on the bottom of the slide, you can see on the V models, they've added these two little protrusions on the side of the firing pin vertical extension, which is what interacts with the sear. They've also thinned the striker or the firing pin a little bit too to make room for these bosses. And you can see that this strip of metal actually extends along the side of the firing pin, whereas on the standard Gen 5 Glocks, you can see that that stops right here at the beginning of that channel. So it doesn't take a genius to think that presumably if you removed this stuff that they've added, you would essentially just be left with a standard Gen 5 Glock. Of course, you'd void your warranty doing that or whatever, but if you were someone that was engaged in some kind of nefarious operation or something, you probably don't care about your warranty with Glock, right? Here on the back side of the slide, you can see they've changed the striker plate slightly. It's a little bit wider at the base. It looks a little bit different. Other than that, I think it's pretty much the same gun. There's a picture here of the trigger housing, and this looks identical to me to a standard Gen 5 trigger housing. And you can even see that the part number on the trigger bar is identical to a standard Gen 5 trigger bar. Basically the same thing they did when they went from Gen 3 and 4 to Gen 5. They added these little plastic protrusions to the trigger housing and to the frame, but it being made of plastic, they were pretty easy to defeat. Well, these are made out of metal, and they're in a little bit more of a critical area, so it's a lot harder, I guess, for someone to modify these without like a milling machine. I mean, you could do it. It just turned out looking really bad. So basically, it's the same exact gun they've been making. It's the same trigger, but now we lose parts interchangeability with certain parts of the slide and that sort of thing, which is very frustrating. So I'll be interested to get my hands on one of these. I think the earliest I'll be able to get my hands on one of these will probably be like December, if I still care by then. And then I'll be interested to see how the parts interchange between the V models and Gen 5. Of course, this is really annoying for me. Like I said, I am someone that owns multiple Glocks. I like having parts interchangeability. I own Gen 3s and I own Gen 5s. I liked the idea that I could swap parts between all of my different pistols pretty much within the same generations. So I think the most interesting thing to come out of all of this whole like Gen V and all this sort of business is that recently Glock actually leaked Generation 6 SKUs on the GSSF website, and there was a guy on the Glock Talk forum that actually queried their website and found some of these SKUs. So if you want to hear more about my thoughts on that and kind of my speculations as to what Gen 6 is going to be and the fact that Gen 6 is probably closer than we might think, go ahead and check out this video right here. In any case, thank you all for watching. Thank you especially to my channel members and Patreon supporters for supporting the channel directly. You too can become a Patreon supporter or a channel member by clicking the relevant links on screen or in the description below. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Peace.